Today I tried to table in the House of Commons a petition that over 16,000 of you signed. And this was asking that the members of the Firearms Advisory Committee, this is the group that provides supposedly expert advice to Trudeau's government on what Canadian firearms legislation should be, that many of you are asking that these people that are informing this policy have their possession and acquisition license. And for those of you who are wondering what that is the training course, it's the certification that any Canadian needs to hold in order to legally own a firearm. The rationale behind this is that if a group of people have been asked by the government to provide subject matter expertise on developing laws, that they should have at least a basic understanding of what those laws are. And certainly what we've heard to date is that many of these people that are on the committee right now actually don't have that basic understanding. So I attempted to table the petition in the House of Commons today. I want you to watch the press conference that we did this morning with my colleague Pierre-Paul Huet, who is our public safety critic with the Conservative Party of Canada. And then I'm going to come back to you with what actually happened in the House.
Good afternoon. I'm joined today by my colleague Pierre-Paul Huet, and it is my intention this afternoon to table a petition that's been signed by over 16,000 Canadians that was sponsored by Ms. Tracy Wilson with regard to the Canadian Firearms Advisory Committee. This is a committee that is tasked with advising the government at a senior level on firearms legislation. And it's come to my attention that a majority of the members on that committee do not have the basic education that any law-abiding firearms owner in Canada would have, and that is having within their possession, having achieved the possession and acquisition license. The possession and acquisition license is the underpinning. You have to have this to legally own a firearm in Canada. And it seems very reasonable to me, as well as to over 16,000 Canadians, that anyone who is advising the government as a subject matter expert on coming up with additional regulations in Canada on this matter should have the basic understanding of what law-abiding firearms owners have to go through in order to obtain and then own a firearm in Canada. My colleague is going to speak about this in the context of Bill C-71, but I will be brief and I will just give my personal experience. After the shooting on Parliament Hill in October 2014, that was a very traumatic day for many of us here on the Hill, certainly for me. It affected me deeply. I had a lot of people, just acquaintances, friends, say, well, you know, Michelle, this wouldn't have happened if we had stricter laws in Canada. And you know, when a charge like that is leveled as a legislator, that's something that you have to take very seriously. So I took it upon myself to obtain my possession and acquisition license, as well as my restricted possession and acquisition license. And the time that it took between me deciding to undertake this process and then actually acquiring a firearm was over a year. The reality is that Canada is not similar to the United States in terms of our context for firearms legislation. We have a very robust, very strict, very comprehensive set of laws that govern firearms usage in Canada. And to me, look, not every legislator can be a subject matter expert on everything, but certainly the people who are tasked with advising us and who are told to be subject matter experts should have this basic understanding. I think that this is something that's very reasonable, and certainly knowing that 16,000 people took it upon themselves to sign a petition to this effect, I think is telling that many Canadians feel the same way.
So after that, we attempted to table the petition in the House of Commons, and unfortunately the Liberals moved a procedural motion which moved us to orders of the day, and that means that they actually voted so that we would not have an opportunity to table the petition today. I'm going to keep trying. I will try and do it tomorrow. I'll try and do it any day that we can. But it was really unfortunate, of course, that the Liberals procedurally stopped us from tabling this petition today. Thank you so much to so many of you who stood up on this issue. I think it's just really common sense. And certainly this is an issue that I think many Canadians are waking up to in a really pragmatic and smart way that puts the public safety of Canadians first. Working hard for you in Ottawa.